They always say college is supposed to be the best years of your life. Parties, new friends, freedom. But for me, college will always be the place where I learned that the people you trust most can be the ones hiding in the shadows. It started with a disappearance, one that nobody seemed to care about except me. Her name was Kayla, my roommate. We'd been paired randomly our freshman year at a small university in Ohio, and we hit it off right away. She was bubbly, outgoing, the kind of girl who could walk into a room and have 3 new friends before she even sat down. I was quieter, more reserved. Maybe that's why we worked. Then one Friday night, Kayla was gone. At first, I thought she was just out late, but by Saturday morning, her bed was still perfectly made and her phone sat charging on the nightstand. By Sunday, I started to panic. I called the campus police. They asked the usual questions. Was she depressed? Did she fight with her boyfriend? Could she have gone home for the weekend? I said no to all of it. Kayla had plans that weekend. She was supposed to meet me for coffee Saturday morning. She never showed. The police shrugged. She's an adult, one of them said. If she wants to disappear, she can. That was it. Case closed, except it wasn't closed, not for me. Because within days, strange things started happening in our dorm room. The first thing was her alarm. Kayla always set her phone alarm for 6:45 a.m., no matter what. Even on weekends, she liked to jog before class. But now, with her phone still plugged in on the nightstand, the alarm went off like always shrill, vibrating across the wood. I let it ring the first time, but the next morning it happened again. And the morning after that, I finally shut the alarm off. But here's the thing, the next morning it was back on. Then her bed. I'd been avoiding looking at it. It just felt too weird, like glancing at a gravestone. But one night, when I climbed into my own bed, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. Kayla's blanket, perfectly smooth down the night before, was wrinkled, like someone had lain in it. I touched the sheets. They were warm. I told myself I was imagining it. Stress, sleep deprivation. But then came the food. We always kept snacks in a plastic tub under the bed, granola bars, chips, ramen cups. I hadn't touched it since she disappeared. But one night, when I was working late on a paper, I heard the faint crinkle of a wrapper. I froze, listening hard. When I finally pulled the tub out, 2 granola bars were gone. Someone was eating her food. I tried to convince myself maybe it was me. Maybe I ate them and forgot. But the thought kept gnawing at me. What if Kayla hadn't left? What if she was still here? That's when I started noticing the small things. The closet door cracked open when I knew I'd closed it. My textbooks moved on the desk. A faint smell of shampoo in the air after I'd been gone all day. And then one night, something happened that made my skin crawl. I woke up around 2:30 a.m. The dorm room was dark, lit only by the blinking light of my laptop charging on the desk. I rolled over, pulling the blanket up. That's when I heard it, breathing, not mine. Slow, steady, controlled, like someone was deliberately trying not to be heard. It wasn't coming from the hallway or outside. It was inside the room. I held my breath, straining to listen. For a long, terrifying minute, the sound continued, soft inhales, long exhales. My heart pounded so hard I thought I'd pass out. Finally, I fumbled for the lamp on my nightstand and switched it on. The room was empty, Kayla's bed untouched, closet door half shut, desk neat. But the breathing stopped the instant the light came on. That was the moment I realized the police were wrong. Kayla hadn't disappeared. She never left the room at all. And maybe she was never planning to. After that night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak, every draft of air, every whisper of sound made me jump. I told myself it was stress, that I was imagining things. But the feeling wouldn't go away. The air in that dorm room felt heavy, like I was never truly alone. I tried to stay out of the room as much as possible. I studied at the library until it closed, ate with classmates I barely knew, even hung around the student union long past midnight. Anything to avoid being in that room alone, but I always had to come back eventually. And every time I did, something was off. Once, I came back from class and found Kayla's hairbrush on the desk. I hadn't touched it. Another time, her favorite hoodie, the gray one she always wore jogging, was draped over the back of her chair. Like she'd just taken it off. I called her parents again. They lived 3 states away, and when I told them everything, they sounded tired, defeated. The police said she probably ran off. Her mother said softly, "She's always been impulsive." Impulsive? Kayla was organized to a fault. She color-coded her planner, set reminders for everything, even scheduled our laundry days. The idea that she just walked away made no sense. Still, nobody believed me, until the night I found the granola wrapper. I pulled an all-nighter for a sociology paper. Around 3 a.m., I left my desk to stretch. That's when I noticed it, a crumpled chocolate chip granola, wrapper shoved halfway under Kayla's bed, fresh, sticky with crumbs. I froze. That wasn't mine. And it hadn't been there when I crawled under the desk earlier to grab a charger, which meant someone had eaten it recently, right there, in the room with me. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone and called campus security. By the time they arrived, I was pale and stammering. They did a half-hearted sweep of the room, under the bed, in the closet, even checked the bathroom down the hall. Nothing. Probably a raccoon. One of them joked, tossing the wrapper in the trash. I wanted to scream. After they left, I sat awake until sunrise, my desk lamp burning, my eyes locked on the closet. Because deep down, I knew someone was hiding here, and I was starting to believe it was Kayla. The next few days blurred together. I stopped eating much. My grades slipped. I barely showered. Every second felt like I was waiting for something, some revelation, some proof that I wasn't crazy, and then I got it. It was a Thursday night. I came back late from the library and immediately noticed it. The closet door. It was cracked open again, just a sliver. I had closed it that morning. I was sure of it. My pulse quickened. I stepped closer, gripping my phone like a weapon. The air smelled faintly of shampoo again, sharp and clean, just like Kayla's. I swallowed hard, my hand trembling on the doorknob. Then I yanked it open. The closet was dark, filled with clothes, shoes, Kayla's laundry basket, nothing unusual. But at the back behind the hanging jackets, I saw something strange. A panel that was small, square, maybe 2 feet wide. And it looked like it had been pried loose before. The edges splintered, the nails bent, my breath caught. I leaned closer, using my phone flashlight. The panel led to a crawl-space narrow, pitch black, with dust and insulation clinging to the edges. And inside, I thought I saw movement. The faintest shift, like someone pulling back deeper into the shadows. I staggered backward, my hand flying to my mouth to keep from screaming. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might explode. I wanted to run, to bolt down the hall, call security again, beg them to look. But I didn't move, because in that moment, something worse occurred to me. If Kayla was hiding in there, if she'd been here this whole time, why hadn't she come out? And why had she stayed so quiet watching me, sneaking food, breathing in the dark? What was she waiting for? That night, I pushed my desk against the closet door. I sat in bed with the lights on, shaking, my eyes burning from exhaustion. Every sound made my stomach clench. And somewhere, in the stillness of the night, I swore I heard it again. Breathing. This time from behind the closet door. By Friday, I was unraveling. I skipped class. My professors emailed me about missed assignments. I didn't care. I barely ate, barely moved. All I could think about was the panel in the closet and the faint shifting I'd seen inside it. Someone was in there. I tried to tell myself it was impossible, that maybe it was just pipes or shadows or my imagination. But every time I glanced at the closet, my stomach turned to ice. I couldn't stop picturing it. Kayla, crouched in that narrow crawl space, staring through the slats of the panel. Watching me sleep, watching me change. I thought about how many nights I'd left the lights off, how many times I'd lain there vulnerable, assuming I was alone. And the more I thought about it, the less convinced I was that Kayla was the same girl I'd once shared laughs with over pizza and late-night study sessions. Something had changed. That night, I decided to stay awake and catch her. I stacked energy drinks on my desk, wrapped myself in a blanket, and sat with my laptop open but my eyes fixed on the closet. The hours crawled by, midnight, 1, 2. At 2:47, I heard it. A scrape, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across wood. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The sound came again, louder this time, something shifting behind the closet door. I grabbed my phone, fumbling to record, and whispered, "Kyla?" Silence. Then the faintest whisper in return, not words, just breath. I bolted. I shoved the desk aside, yanked the door open, and pointed my phone light into the closet. The panel was there, slightly ajar now. My hands shook as I crouched, shining the light into the crawl space, and my heart stopped. 2 eyes reflected the light back at me. They blinked. I stumbled backward, tripping over my chair, my phone clattering to the ground. By the time I scrambled up and looked again, the panel was closed. I stood there, chest heaving, staring at the closet. The room was silent. My phone kept recording, the camera angled at the ceiling. I didn't dare open the panel again. The next morning, I marched to campus police with the video. It was shaky, grainy, but you could clearly see the panel slightly open, and the glint of eyes in the darkness. They dismissed it. "Probably raccoons," one officer said with a sigh. "Raccoons don't blink," I snapped. The officer leaned back, smirking. "Look, if you're this freaked out, stay with a friend for a while. We can't waste time chasing shadows in crawl spaces." That was it. No investigation, no sweep, nothing. So I went back to the dorm, more terrified than ever. For 2 days, I barely left my bed. I barricaded the closet with furniture and blasted music to drown out any sounds. But even through the music, I thought I could hear it. Scraping, shuffling, breathing, and then came the note. Sunday morning, I woke to find a folded piece of paper on my desk. I hadn't left it there. My hands shook as I opened it. In messy handwriting, it said, "Stop looking." I dropped it like it burned me. My chest tightened, my pulse pounding in my ears. She'd been out. She'd been close enough to my desk to leave that note while I slept. And the worst part? She hadn't hurt me, not yet, which meant she was waiting. That night, I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to get real proof this time. I borrowed a camera from the media lab, set it up facing the closet, and left it recording while I pretended to sleep. Hours passed. My eyes burned, but I forced them shut, breathing slowly, evenly. Around 3 a.m., I heard it. The faint creak of the closet door. My body tensed, every instinct screaming at me to move, to run. But I stayed still, letting the camera capture it. The door inched open. I felt the air shift, heard the scrape of bare feet on linoleum, then closer, breathing, right beside my bed. The smell hit me, sweat, stale food, Kayla's shampoo. My heart thundered so loud I thought she'd hear. The breathing lingered for what felt like hours until finally it retreated. The closet door creaked again. Silence. I didn't move until dawn. When I checked the camera, my hands shook so badly I almost dropped it. The footage showed the closet door opening, a figure creeping out. It was Kayla, or at least it looked like her. Her hair was tangled, her skin pale, her eyes wide and unblinking. She crouched beside my bed for almost 10 minutes, watching me, her face inches from mine. And then she smiled. I didn't sleep after that. I sat frozen at my desk, staring at the paused frame on the camera, Kayla's face hovering over mine, lips curled in a smile I didn't recognize. It wasn't the Kayla I'd known. Something had hollowed her out. I copied the footage to my laptop, then backed it up to a USB. Proof. Finally, proof that I wasn't insane. Proof that Kayla hadn't vanished. She'd been here all along. But the question I couldn't answer was why? Why stay hidden? Why creep out at night, eat scraps, breathe over me as I slept? Why not just speak? All day, I kept glancing at the closet. I half expected the door to burst open, for her to come crawling out like some twisted nightmare. My stomach clenched every time the floor creaked. By nightfall, I made a decision. I wasn't staying another night. I packed my backpack with my laptop, the USB, and a change of clothes. My plan was simple: leave, crash at a friend's dorm, and in the morning, take the footage to the real police off campus. But when I turned to grab my phone off the desk, my blood ran cold. The note was back. Same messy handwriting. Don't leave. My throat tightened. I hadn't heard the door open. I hadn't heard anyone come in, which meant my eyes darted to the closet. It was open. Wide open. I backed toward the door, my heart slamming in my chest. My hand closed around the knob. That's when I heard it. Footsteps behind me. I spun, and there she was, Kayla, standing barefoot in the middle of the room. Her hair was a tangled mess, hanging in greasy strands. Her skin looked gray, almost sickly. Her eyes locked on mine, wide and fever bright, and that same awful smile stretched across her face. "Where are you going?" she whispered. Her voice was raspy, dry, like she hadn't spoken in weeks. I stammered, "Kayla, what are you doing? Why are you hiding in there?" She tilted her head, smile never fading. "They said you'd stop looking, but you didn't." My back hit the door. My fingers fumbled for the lock. "Kayla, we can get help." "You don't have to." Her face twisted. "Help?" She stepped closer, her bare feet slapping against the linoleum. "I don't need help. I need silence." My stomach dropped. That's when I saw it clutched in her hand, half hidden by her sleeve. A knife. My body moved before my brain did. I yanked the door open and bolted into the hallway, my screams echoing off the cinder block walls. Doors cracked open, sleepy faces peering out. But when they saw the knife in Kayla's hand, they slammed shut again. I tore down the stairs 2 at a time, my lungs burning, my legs trembling. Behind me, Kayla's footsteps pounded, fast, relentless. I burst into the lobby, shrieking for help. The night guard shot up from his chair just as Kayla came charging down the stairs. He grabbed his radio, shouting into it, but she didn't slow down. It took 2 campus cops and the guard to pin her to the floor. She thrashed and screamed, her voice breaking, her eyes wild. "You weren't supposed to know," she shrieked. "You weren't supposed to see me." They dragged her away, still screaming, still fighting. I collapsed in the corner, sobbing, my whole body shaking. The police finally took me seriously. They searched the crawl space. It was worse than I imagined. Blankets, empty food wrappers, bottled water, a diary filled with scribbles, page after page of my name, written over and over again, and drawings. Dozens of drawings of me, sleeping, studying, eating, all from angles she could only see if she was watching from the dark. They said Kayla had a breakdown. Stress, mental illness, paranoia, whatever label they wanted to slap on it. She was taken to a psychiatric facility, but none of that helps me sleep at night, because every time I close my eyes, I remember that smile. The way she leaned over me in the dark, breathing against my face. And sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, I swear I hear it again, breathing, slow, steady, just beyond the closet door.